Hello again from my front porch. It is September 13, 2017, which means today is our 1-year anniversary of Hello from my front porch. It was on this day 1 year ago that the first episode aired. Of course, at that time, we weren't expecting that it was going to actually become an ongoing series. That was just a little FYI related to Ashley and Josh's wedding, and it has blossomed from there. Today, in fact, you're going to see 2 episodes because you're going to see this little one that I'm doing here quick before heading off to work this morning. And then tonight, there's going to be a special episode posted. So make sure that you're watching the Facebook page for Hello from My Front Porch, the YouTube channel for Hello from My Front Porch, the Instagram for Hello from My Front Porch, or the Twitter page that's just From My Front Porch, FRM too, because Twitter abbreviates things. Anyway. But be watching those things tonight because there will be a special episode that's going to be posted. That's a lot of fun to put together, a lot of work, but a lot of fun. And so be watching for that tonight. But this morning, the thing that I wanted to really address the most is to keep people updated on what's going on with Ashley and Josh and Josh's parents, Rick and Charlene, and Grandma Lucy and the fur babies, and all of that, because they evacuated Florida because of Hurricane Irma that was bearing down on their part of the state. They live about an hour north of Tampa on the Gulf side, and by all maps it looked like the trajectory of Irma was going to take her right through their area, and that it might even have still been a Category 4 hurricane by the time it hit that part of the state. Then, of course, we all watched on TV as miraculously Irma kind of petered out. Now, not to say that she didn't still pack a wallop where she went, but by the time Irma got to where the part of the state where all of my immediate family folks that I just mentioned live, it had reduced down to being basically the equivalent of what a really good Iowa thunderstorm would be. And they cause some damage, they do some problems, but not hurricane level kind of stuff. And so the word is that they've received reports that Rick and Charlene's property, Grandma Lucy's property where she lives, that none of them had any significant damage, and it sounds like maybe their area didn't even lose power. Ashley and Josh, sounds like their apartment is unscathed, that's okay. Not quite sure whether they have power or not. There was a posting on Facebook from the apartment complex company saying that some residents had lost power, which would imply that maybe there was just a line accessing part of the facility that maybe got damaged, and hopefully that can be a quick fix, maybe, I don't know. But in terms of prioritization, obviously the power companies are going to be working on transformers and being able to supply to lots of people. It might actually be a little lower priority to just reconnect to a specific facility, a specific building. I don't know, we'll see. Good news though is that Ashley and Josh, even if their place doesn't have power for a while, Rick and Charlene, Josh's parents, do, and they don't live too far away, and so there's the option for them to be able to temporarily be with them until everything was good to go. With all that being the case, and with the area there not being impacted anywhere near to the level that was anticipated, their jobs are opening back up as of Friday. Actually, the school Ashley works at is talking about having a meeting on Thursday night, and so they're doing plans and how they're going to deal with stuff and things so that they can hit the ground running Monday. So. All that being the case, the minimal damage and the work schedule is starting to kick back up again because of the minimal damage. The group decided it was time to head on back, and so as of 4 a.m. this morning, they were up and on the road and heading back to Florida. And so their goal is to be back there Thursday so that Ashley can be at her work meeting Thursday night. And plus, the facility that Rick helps support through the efforts that he does, there's a lot of work that needs done to put everything back in place. Anyway, they boarded up a bunch of stuff stored a bunch of stuff from the grounds, the facility he helps maintain and support. And now basically they need him back to help with putting everything back where it goes. So there's lots of need for them to be heading back for the others, or depending on them and support that they support as well. So they are on the road again. I was sad that I did not get to actually meet up with them in person. They were down in Springfield, Missouri, which is a good 6 hours away. And unfortunately, commitments didn't allow for me to go down there. And they didn't have the opportunity or the finances really to make the trip up to Des Moines. So even though they got really, really close, we were not able to actually connect in that way. And that's okay. As I've said, I would have loved to have seen them, but I didn't really want to see them in that context. My hope really was that this kind of scenario would happen, that if they did have to evacuate, that they would be able to return as quickly as possible because the damage would be as minimal as possible. And it sounds like that's exactly what happened. And I know that's what a lot of people were praying for. And so, I do consider that a blessing. People say, well, I don't know that if miracles really happen. Well, I think those things are just coincidences. That's all. And as I like to say, it may be true. It may be true that it's all just a coincidence. If people prayed for this thing and that thing happened, it's just a coincidence. What I know from my nearly 50 years now of life is that the odds of coincidences happening really seems to increase when people pray for them. So you can say what you want about it, but I do think there might be just a little bit of a correlation there. So anyway, I like I said, I was bummed I didn't get to see them, but I am very happy for them that it sounds like they got some really good reports about what the situations are for their properties back in Florida, and now that they're able to go back in. I look forward to their reports, obviously, from the road. I especially look forward to the reports of the aftermath. And honestly, for a lot of Floridians, that may be where the big problem really sits with the Hurricane Irma, because I kind of chuckled a bit. I did, because watching the news reports of Hurricane Irma, it almost seemed at times like the media folks were a little disappointed that it wasn't a bigger, that it didn't become the big deal, the big storm that they were bracing us all for. And sometimes I think the media folks, in an attempt to try to draw viewers, an attempt to try to entice people to watch our programming for the latest updates on Hurricane Irma, I think sometimes they foster a sense of hysteria. Now, hurricanes are nothing to take lightly. People needed to take shelter and should have evacuated and all of that. But I get the impression that what we were being told through media was the worst case scenarios that the media were hoping would be what happened, so they'd have some really great stuff to cover. When in reality, it didn't turn out to be as bad of a storm, the initial impact of the storm for much of Florida, as was anticipated. Now, there are parts of Florida that got hammered really hard when Irma was still Category 4 hurricane, especially down in the Keys area and stuff like that. I've seen some video of those things, some images, and that's nasty. That definitely, no joke, that got hit hard. But as it moved up through Florida, there had been all this talk about how it was still going to be so massive and it caused such destruction. And then I see headlines now saying the death toll rises to 17. Well, not that I'm discounting that 17 people died, that's sad, but by the same token, why are we saying the death toll rises to 17? Shouldn't we be considering what we were told, how massive that storm will be? Shouldn't the headline be, that we're lucky that only 17 people are listed as having been killed because of the hurricane? Because if it was going to be the massive storm that has never been seen before, shouldn't there have been a whole lot more people injured or killed because of this hurricane? You know, I mean, I'd say that 17, even though sad for those 17 people, I would say that that's a nice number. It's a very small number, and that's something that is a good indication of the preparedness of people and the evacuations. That's what really the story ought to be, a more positive look at it. But no. Media wants to always be doom and gloom about it. And I say this as a former journalist myself, that I look at this and I shake my head like, people, really, seriously, why do you have to make everything sound like that? But I digress. So Ashley and Josh and Charlene and Rick and the fur babies are all loaded up into the vehicle heading back to Florida. Now, Aunt Lucy did not leave with them. Aunt Lucy is staying a little bit longer with her grandkids, Thomas and his wife, and and she's going to fly back to Florida in a few days. And so they got a little bit more elbow room in the vehicle going back, and I'm sure that's good for all of them as well. And I know that they had a good time hanging out with Thomas and Kayla, is Thomas's wife, that they had a good time hanging out with them in Springfield, Missouri too. And I'm sure that was while the circumstances again were not the best, I'm sure they made the best of the circumstances. So that's good too. But they're on the road, and of course we still wish them safe travels and safe journey as they head back to Florida now. But very thankful that the impact to them sounds like it's going to be as minimal as it can be for the situation that occurred. I know that there are other Floridians, though, in areas, in fact, other friends of mine who had power outage and might have power outage for what I'm hearing is that they may have power outages up to 30 days. Now, again, I'm getting the impression that's a hysteria a bit. I'm thinking it probably won't really be that long because there's this army of utility workers from other states going there as well to help put things back together, put things back in order. But between flooding and between power outages and initial storm damage, I suspect there's going to be the aftermath of Irma is going to be harder on a lot of people than the storm itself actually was, especially lack of electricity where you have sweltering heat and high humidity. Who knows? We might actually see more fatalities as a result of the after effects of Irma than from Irma itself. So anyway, we'll see how the news plays out with that. Again, with the understanding that there are parts of Florida that are under those kind of conditions, I'm just really glad that for Ashley and Josh and the folks that that are immediately related to me, I'm very glad for them that their situation was positive. So with that, I'm going to let you go. I'm going to head off to work myself this beautiful day here in Iowa and be watching tonight for the special episode commemorating the 1-year anniversary of Hello from My Front Porch. See you then.